Information about serious shooting incident occurred at Härmän Häjy pub. A mobile broadcast tower belonging to Elisa was toppled in Janakkala. The victim of a rape in the Halssila area of Jyväskylä was a young woman. Economists say that the public hasn't fully grasped the recent easing of inflation. On the evening of Saturday, July 27, a serious shooting incident occurred at Härmän Häjy pub in downtown Kemijoki, Finland. The event unfolded while dozens of people were inside the pub, posing a danger to many bystanders. According to the police, the conflict began as a verbal argument and quickly escalated into a shooting. As a result, 5 people were injured, including 3 seriously, one of whom was a security guard at the pub. Police reported that at least 2 shooters were involved, one left the scene while another was shot in the leg. The police arrived at the scene just 3 minutes after receiving an emergency call at 10:19 p.m. They quickly secured the area and provided first aid to the injured. A total of 6 individuals were arrested that night, some of whom were already known to the police. The police have initiated a case with charges including illegal use of firearms, attempted murder, and endangering the public. There is also suspicion that the guns were concealed when brought into the pub. Authorities are continuing the investigation to determine the motive behind the shooting, while local officials are providing psychological support to those affected. Finnish police deal with dozens of gun-related incidents each month, but statistics do not show an increase in public shootings. Over the weekend, there were reports of 2 shootings in Kemijoki and Jyväskylä, but there is no clear indication that this trend is rising. According to the police, the number of gun-related incidents decreased from 275 in 2020 to 223 in 2023. The police are monitoring the situation but have found no evidence that public shootings are becoming more common. In another incident, a mobile broadcast tower belonging to Elisa was toppled in Janakkala from Saturday night to Sunday. According to police, one of the 3 supporting cables was deliberately cut, and the incident is being investigated as a serious act of vandalism. The 70-meter tower was located in a densely wooded area. Signs of intruders were found at the site, including used condom wrappers. Elisa reported that the incident disrupted mobile network services in the Hämeenlinna and Janakkala areas, affecting voice, data, and messaging services on the 2G, 4G, and 5G networks. Authorities are conducting a technical investigation on site and have not yet concluded whether there is any connection to terrorism. Network providers warn that while vandalism of mobile broadcast towers hasn't spiked, the practice is becoming more common. Experts note an increase in copper and battery thefts from broadcasting stations. While these towers are typically secured, vulnerabilities remain, complicating surveillance efforts. The victim of a rape in the Halssila area of Jyväskylä was a young woman, police reported. The incident occurred in early July, and the suspect, a man in his 20s, used a sharp weapon during the attack. The police conducted an investigation at the scene with the assistance of sniffer dogs. The victim was seriously injured but not in life-threatening condition. To save herself, she played dead, causing the attacker to flee. The suspect was apprehended approximately 2 hours after the incident. The case remains under investigation. Economists say that the public hasn't fully grasped the recent easing of inflation, even though confidence in the Finnish economy has shown signs of improvement. The Consumer Confidence Index in July was -7.2, compared to -7.6 in June. Chief economist Reijo Heiskanen of Osuuspankki noted that the increase in confidence reflects a gradual improvement in the economic situation and positive expectations. However, consumers remain cautious about spending, possibly due to concerns about the labor market. Heiskanen also pointed out that consumers often overestimate the rate of inflation. Evita Kolmonen, convicted of planning a school attack in Isonkyrö, will remain in custody after the Vasa Court of Appeal rejected her request for release pending her appeal. Kolmonen, 23, was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison by the Vasa District Court for preparing to commit a serious crime and violating gun possession laws. In March, she planned an attack on Isonkyrö school, carrying firearms, ammunition, and other weapons, but later abandoned the idea. Kolmonen was also accused of threatening to attack another school in Vasa earlier. She has appealed and requested that the charges be dismissed or her sentence reduced due to abandoning the plan. Two men suspected of being involved in a shooting at the Tuomioharvi Beach parking lot in Jyväskylä early Saturday morning were released on Monday. Both were young adults from central Finland. They were detained on charges of using firearms and causing danger. Technical investigations and interrogations continue. According to Chief Inspector Sami Salo, the shooting was not aimed at anyone in particular but was intended to intimidate. No one was injured, and there was no danger to the surrounding area. A total of 12 people were detained on Saturday, 10 of whom were released earlier. The case will proceed to prosecution within about a month. Kemijoki Oy is pleased with the decision of the Northern Finland Regional State Administrative Agency (AVI) regarding new obligations related to fisheries. AVI has instructed hydroelectric companies to investigate and plan for fish migration channels at power plants on the Kemijoki River. The total projected cost has been reduced from €1 billion to just a few €100 million, partly because AVI rejected some requests from the Lapland Ely Center. Kemijoki Oy's CEO, Tuomas Timonen, emphasized that this decision aligns with the company's migratory fish conservation strategy and will help improve the recovery of salmon and sea trout populations in the river system. This morning, an incident occurred in the Karhuvuori area of Kotka when a power company's excavator damaged Elisa's telecommunications cable. The severing of the copper cable disrupted broadband internet and cable TV services for many households in the area. The incident affected several dozen customers. However, Elisa's technical team quickly addressed the issue. By around 3 p.m., cable TV had been restored, and by 3:30 p.m., broadband internet was also back to normal. Elisa's services were fully restored, bringing reassurance to customers. A wooden utility pole from the 1970s caught fire last night in the Loimaan Metsämaa and Ipaha areas, leaving about 10,000 households without electricity. The incident occurred around 1 a.m., affecting the power grid of Fingrid. Approximately 3,000 households were expected to remain without power until Tuesday morning, around 9 a.m. Affected areas included Loimaan, Punkalaiden, Urjala, Ipaha, Humpila, and Hutinen. According to Hannu Halminen of Salila Saakonserto, the fire was caused by mechanical damage accumulated over the years, not intentional acts. Power was restored at the Loimaan Health Center and the Tykes Loimaan Hospital. The outage also disrupted food delivery and home care services in the area. The Bank of Finland owns about 49 tons of gold, valued at approximately €3.4 billion. The value of gold has increased significantly over the past 2 years, rising by up to 30% since 2022. However, this amount is far less than that of neighboring Sweden, which owns around 125 tons of gold. Most of Finland's gold is stored at central banks in Sweden, the United States, the United Kingdom, and Switzerland for convenience in trading, especially in London, the hub of the gold market. Gold is valued not only for its historical significance but also as a safe haven during crises and a hedge against inflation, lacking the credit risk associated with stocks or corporate bonds. The price of gold has surged since early April, reaching its highest levels in over a decade, around €71 per gram. In this context, many consumers have taken the opportunity to sell unused gold jewelry. At Helsinki Panti's main office, customers are regularly bringing in gold jewelry for appraisal and sale. According to Tia Häyry, sales director, there has been a recent influx of jewelry from the 1980s and 1990s. Despite the high price of gold, selling used gold jewelry remains attractive to many. Additionally, gold-plated silver jewelry is becoming popular due to its lower cost compared to real gold. An unusual summer storm caused flooding and power outages in the Baltic countries. More than 160,000 people in Lithuania lost power, and part of the cathedral roof in Riga was blown off. Rescue teams in Riga received about 200 emergency calls related to the storm. Heavy rain, reaching 10 to 20 m/h, flooded many roads and toppled trees, disrupting traffic in Riga. Flights were cancelled due to strong winds. The weather service predicts the storm's impact will lessen as it moves east. On the night of July 27, a car event in the Pirkanmaa industrial area turned into illegal street racing. Hundreds of people gathered along the long road, waiting for two cars to race. The start signal was given, and the racers sped off amidst roaring engines. These illegal races occur several times a year in Finland, especially during the Uncop event, attracting a large number of participants. The event includes car displays, meeting friends, and concludes with a race. However, the race was forced to stop when the police arrived. Nevertheless, the organizers did not notify the police in advance, fearing the event would be banned. Despite this, the racers continued to return, waiting for another chance to start the race once the police left. In Kainuu, a Chinatown was built to attract Chinese tourists. However, the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic significantly reduced tourist numbers, resulting in a loss of €200 million in tourism revenue. Before the pandemic, the number of Chinese tourists visiting Finland increased sharply, with rapid development in many areas such as Vuokatti, which built special facilities for Chinese visitors. However, the pandemic and the war in Ukraine have significantly reduced Finland's appeal to international tourists. While the number of Chinese tourists is showing signs of recovery, it has not yet reached pre-pandemic levels. Visit Finland predicts that tourism from China may return to pre-pandemic levels by 2026, later than in other European countries.